Are you stuck with your bench press? Do you feel like you've been using the same weights for the same amount of reps for weeks on end? Then this video is for you. So the first thing you want to do is actually figuring out whether you're doing the right exercise or not. Just to give you an example, flat bench press is not a great exercise for me. I've been trying to get strong at it for years and it's just not working. The dumbbell version is just a much better alternative for me. It allows me to get my joints aligned, my shoulders and my wrists in the right position to get the most out of the exercise. So first of all, you might want to evaluate whether the flat bench press or any other pressing exercise that you're doing is actually the right exercise to progress with for you. Second thing you want to look at is performing the exercise with proper technique. I'm not going to get into too much depth with that. There's other videos from much smarter people that you can look at. But there's 2-3 things that usually people get wrong or could improve on, and that's what we're going to have a look at now. First thing is foot positioning. You want to make sure that your feet are fairly close to your glutes. So you want to kind of drag them back on the floor. I usually suggest the majority of my clients to keep the whole foot on the ground, because it's just going to make you feel a lot more grounded and it's going to be a lot easier to drive more force through the legs into the actual lift, as long as you feel quite stable on the floor and you're able to really push into the ground. Second thing you want to look at is your thoracic extension. There's a huge debate on whether you should keep your back flat on a bench or just keep an arch. The reality of things is that we're all different and it really depends on what's helpful for you in order to activate your chest. So for me, for instance, I need quite a big arch. I need quite good thoracic extension in order to actually activate my left pec. My left pec is a bit dumb. Doesn't activate as well as my right. So I just really have to extend my thoracic and get in a really good arched position in order to fully activate it. So the best thing to do is to try it out and see what actually feels best as you're performing the exercise. So now that we've got that down, I can show you 4 different techniques that you can incorporate to help you break that plateau. First one we're gonna break down is using a resistance band. You could attach it to the bench, and that's probably the best way to go about it. But if you're a little bit short on time, there's a much quicker way to do it, and it's a lot more practical. So you grab the band, you kind of want to twist it so it joins in the middle, and that's just going to make it a lot more stable and even. And then you just bring it behind your back and you grip it this way, so it kind of wraps around your upper arm and it's behind the elbow. Then you lie down and you perform the exercise. So obviously you don't want to use super heavy bands. Usually the black ones and the red ones, the ones that are a bit thinner, are the best ones to use. You also want to make sure that it's quite long so that you can wrap it behind your back. This is particularly good to help you getting strong at the top of the lift, so the top half of your lift, so the lockout. But you can also use it to do some sort of mechanical drop set, where you're first utilizing the bands and then dropping the bands and carrying on with the set. Second technique you could use is changing the tempo of the lift. Pause reps in particular are really, really good to develop explosive power with your pressing movements. So the way that you do it is a very controlled negative. You would pause for a specific number of seconds that you can progressively increase at the bottom of the lift to then use as much explosive power as possible to just really push through that concentric and extend your arms all the way to the top. Notice how I'm not resting the bar on my chest, but I'm actually keeping it an inch or so off my chest. It's that static hold, that isometric contraction that's really gonna help you stimulate your fast twitch and develop that explosive power through the concentric. Another very useful technique that is often overlooked is pre-exhaustion. So depending on whether you're weaker at your lockout or at the bottom half of the range of motion, you might want to pre-exhaust your chest or your triceps. So you would choose an isolation movement to do prior to your main compound exercise. And you would do 2 to 3 sets, not pushing to absolute failure, keeping 2 to 3 reps in reserve, where you're pre-activating and exhausting, where you're pre-activating and exhausting the muscle before going into your actual bench press. Last and final technique that you could use to break your plateau with your bench press is a cluster set. This is a great technique that I like to use with a lot of my clients, and it's just very, very effective. The concept of the cluster set or interrupted sets is to break down your set into multiple smaller sets that you're not taking to absolute failure, with 45 to 60 seconds rest in between. To give you an example, you might choose your 8 rep max and then perform 3 sets of 5 reps with that weight. The result is you having performed 15 reps with a weight you could only do 8 reps with. So it's a great way to accumulate more volume and to get a much stronger neuronal adaptation to that weight. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and press the notification bell. I'll see you in the next video.